Hey folks, Eric to the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever for me. And do you folks want to know about Trulieve appealing Alabama's license restraining order process? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know, my name is Eric. I am the Whatever Guy, and I usually shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, just what's going on around. I'm sitting here bullshitting around. I'm not going to lie to you guys about it. I was actually supposed to shoot this video yesterday. I apologize for that. I know I told you guys, I believe it was Thursday morning, that I would get you guys a video up Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. I just felt like crap Friday. Or excuse me, yesterday. I just couldn't get up, which was Friday. I just couldn't get up and move around very good. I actually ended up feeling sick most of the day, and then I ended up chasing my cat. You know, my cat got out the house first thing in the morning. That didn't help me out too much either. And so I just put the video off till this morning, man. But sitting here bullshitting around this morning. As usual, I'm taking my my normal dose of Delta 8 tincture. For those of you that don't know, there are alternative things out there to medical marijuana. Like I work for Boro Hemp Company, and we do have hemp products up on the shelf. And for those of you that aren't aware, Delta 8 is a little cousin of Delta 9. It's about half the potency of Delta 9. So if you're like a 10 milligram Delta 9 person in the morning like I am, 20 milligrams of Delta 8 would be about where you are. And normally what I do is I do that with a tincture, and I drop it off in my coffee and just stir it up, and when it's nice and warm, and then I pour it over a little bit of ice, and that's how I drink my coffee first thing in the morning. And that's usually how I get my dose of cannabinoids first thing in the morning, man. Makes me a more congenial person to deal with. Talking about this Trulieve, man, talking about what's going on with the Alabama medical cannabis cartel. Talked about this many times on this channel, and now we move forward into a position where we've got so many friggin' lawsuits going in so many different directions. It's just crazy, and it's almost like in this situation, it's almost like Trulieve told the board, like, listen, you can either give us a license and we'll fight for you, or not give us a license and we'll fight against you, because we've got all the money to do that. And this just seems like a quid pro quo type of thing going on right here. Simply when you take a look at the way that the Trulieve was actually awarded their social equity license. Come on, guys. Like, is this the only minority-owned person or like minority-owned company that we could find in Alabama to give a cannabis license to? And the way that they did the voting was crazy too. Like when you scored the social equity licenses, Trulieve scored fourth. Like they were fourth according to all those commissioners on the board. And when they voted, they took the number one social equity license, and they didn't get a vote on that. Like they didn't get a second. They couldn't get a consensus of the commissioners to agree that the number one company that they all voted for on paper should get a license. And then I forget which commissioner it was, but immediately after that, rather than going to the second and third place, they immediately just said, hey man, let's just make a vote on Trulieve. They voted Trulieve, man. Like Trulieve scored fourth. I don't understand how Trulieve got a license in like the whole process is really screwed up. Like, are you telling me that like the only minority owned company we could find to give an integrated license to in the state of Alabama was Trulieve? I mean, a multi-state operator from Florida. And so we're going to flip over here to an article right now, and as it stands right now, as you guys may or may not know, there is a temporary restraining order put forth by Judge Anderson for the integrated licenses. And having said that, now we have an appeal by Trulieve to basically vacate that temporary restraining order. And their argument is that these applicants have an opportunity or some sort of administrative action that they could go to the board. And the Judge Anderson's argument is they do not have an administrative remedy for this, simply because all the licenses have been issued. Like there is no remedy on the other side. Like they can do all these administrative hearings on the other side, but all the licenses have been issued. And these companies that are having discrepancies or are questioning the way that these licenses were issued would not have any remedy on the other side. Like there's no way, they could say, oh yeah, we we fucked up, but we're not giving you a license anyway because we've already issued all the license. That's the crux of the whole issue right here. Trulieve would like for the judge, or excuse me, the appeals court, to throw the temporary restraining order out. So we're going to take a look at this article over here at I believe this is over here at the Alabama Reporter. Don't quote me on that just yet. Excuse me. This is over at the Alabama Report. I'm at the wrong article that I wanted to read there. It says cannabis company files appeal of restraining order holding up medical cannabis process. Oops. Let's go down here. It says the fight over Alabama medical cannabis license is headed to appeals court. Trulieve Alabama Incorporation on Wednesday filed notice of an appeal with the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals, stating its intention to challenge a temporary restraining order issued earlier this month by Montgomery County Circuit Court Judge James Anderson. The restraining order has put a halt on the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission's licensing process, preventing it from completing the licensing process. Anderson issued the restraining order and also ordered depositions in the case after evidence was presented at a December hearing showing the AMCC had violated its own procedural rules when using a ranking system to vote on candidates for integrated licenses. That system effectively allowed a minority of commissioners to prevent an applicant company from receiving a license, even if a majority of commissioners ranked the company highly. However, in its appeal, Trulieve is asking the appeals court to overturn that decision, claiming that the companies are required to first exhaust all administrative remedies before returning to the courts. Trulieve argues that the AMCC has in place an appeals process for such grievances. Yeah, they do, guys, but the fact of the matter is that appeals process already was screwed up in the very beginning, because now you have issued the license. There is no remedy on the other side. You can't give anyone, you can't fix this on the other side for anybody. All you can do is basically say, I screwed up, and we'll just see you next time, like that, and you don't get a license. So the administrative remedy that they're talking about is non-existent. In his order issuing the temporary injunction, though Anderson specifically addressed that question, noting that the appeals process available to the plaintiffs, Alabama Always and INSA Alabama, is ineffectual because of the limited number of licenses. 5, the AMCC is allowed to award under the state laws. 5, with a January 9th deadline to hand out those licenses and no possibility of righting any wrongs after the licenses were distributed, Anderson said that it appeared that without the TRO, the plaintiffs were likely to suffer irreparable harm. The current restraining order is the third stoppage of the AMCC's licensing process for integrated licenses. Following the previous two, the commission decided to start over and redo the process in order to correct specific mistakes. It seems likely that we'll be heading down that path again. And guys, this is basically what is going on here. I told you many times on this channel that these lawyers for the applicants are driving towards a position where they're going to force this off into a legislature. They are basically in a process of disbanding the commission. I told you already. I've said many times on this channel, I've guaranteed you that they were going to void all of the licenses again, and that is Trulieve's fear. They want to go ahead and get this TR out of the way and go ahead and make this license as secure as possible. They're going to spend their money to do it. The AMCC was smart enough to give them a license in their convoluted way that they did. Okay, and now they have the Trulieve money on their side of the fence fighting for their for their goals. Like the AMCC wants this over. They do not want any depositions going forward. They don't want any information to get out. They don't want to know what money passed hands back and forth, because it appears when you take a look at the vote, like I told you, the very first minority owned company, Trulieve, scored first. And when they voted for the first company, they couldn't even get a second. They couldn't get a majority or consensus of the commissioners to vote on the one that all of the commissioners agreed was first. And then they didn't even vote on the second and third company. And the next thing they did was the commissioner asked for a motion to award Trulieve the license. And then they seconded it, and then they got a consensus of the vote. Like, that's how Trulieve got their license right there. It's almost crazy to think about how did Trulieve got their license. And now when you take a look at this court battle right here, you got to wonder, did the AMCC realize that Trulieve had all this fucking money, and there was no way that they wanted them on the other side with the applicants fighting this and pushing this off. And so they got them on their side, and now they've got that money pushing these, trying to get this process over as quickly as possible. In this instance, the plaintiffs not only claimed that the AMCC violated its own procedural rules, they also claimed the commissioners violated the state's Open Meetings Act by holding discussions about the applicants in the licensing process outside of public meetings. Court filings also indicate that the plaintiffs plan to depose several commissioners and AMCC Executive Director John McMillan to determine if proper actions were taken to give certain applicants an advantage in this process. And we already know for a fact that that's exactly what happened. We already know that there were several commissioners that were having conversations with these applicants prior to the awarding of these licenses, and they were given an opportunity to do this out in the open, but that motion was shot down 1 week prior to the awarding of the second awarding of the licenses. So they had an opportunity to do this out in the open. They had an opportunity to sit down with these applicants and have an opportunity to speak to them where we could all see it, and they shot that motion down. And now we find out after the fact that a lot of these applicants and some of these commissioners were having conversations. Obviously, that there's no other way that you can convince me that that's not what's going on, because if you look at it from the outside in, why would they jump? Why would they not? Why would we get a no vote on what the commissioners decided was the consensus #1 social equity. Not only that, they didn't vote on the second, they didn't vote on the third, and they jumped to #4 and they gave Trulieve a license. That it just makes no sense. I promise you there was some money that passed hands somewhere, and I promise you there was probably some quid pro quo type of thing going on right here, simply because they don't want Trulieve's money on the other side fighting against them. So now they've got them on the side fighting for them. All right, folks, whatever, guys, signing off, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Love it. See ya.